Mercedes-AMG Interview Lounge.
We love when Dr. Oz is here.
Yes.
I love being here.
He's like family. People don't know behind the scenes that we text him. I text him with all my questions all the time, and he's so good. He always gets back to you.
Oh, my gosh. Poor guy.
They're good questions. I collect copays now. It's fantastic.
Good. All right. As long as you're getting something out
So,
of it.
Dr. Oz, look, we just got back from Puerto Rico where I overdid it. I don't know about these. I mean, I need to rest for a few days. What is it? How come I can't party like I used to when I was younger? Why is this?
Well, first, just to be real clear, I mean, I enjoy alcohol as well, but it is a toxin.
Yes.
And it literally has to be detoxified by the liver. So the liver is your sieve. It's your filter of all the bad things you put in your body. And it's your biggest organ. So it gets overwhelmed. They can't keep up. And it'll do it for a while, for a day or two. But as we get older, our liver's not supposed to do the kind of heavy lifting it did when we were binging in college.
What, you're saying it's my biggest organ? I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, it may not be for you. For most people, it's the biggest organ. It's the biggest internal organ. I'll say that.
All right.
So what if you are able to drink a lot and never get hungover? Is there something wrong with your liver or something very right with your liver?
There's something right with your liver, but first of all, there's some foods you can eat that can prime your liver so it works a little better.
Oh.
And many people who don't get hangovers is because they're drinking the right kind of alcohol. So alcohol that's got a little tint to it, like a whiskey or rye, right? That's actually a problem for most people. For most people, because there are things called congeners in them. That's what gives it a little bit of pigment. But tequila and vodka and gin, they don't give you much of a hangover because they're clear alcohol. So it's just the alcohol you have to do the work with.
Let's hear it for vodka.
Yes. What are these foods?
Dr. Oz says I'm going to live forever because I'm drinking vodka. That's what I heard.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, I saw that on today's show you guys are doing something about iced coffee.
Yes.
You know, iced coffee, I mean, it's my fuel every day.
I have one right here, right now.
I see one in Elvis's trash down below his feet.
By the way,
He hit it.
He'll pull it out and drink it later.
I eat food out of my trash can.
Oh, he is. He pulled it out. He pulled it out of the
He
trash.
thinks he's done, and then
I'll tell
he's
you what
not.
happened. One morning, I was running to work in a snowstorm, okay? And I had a pizza from the night before I wanted to share with everyone. So I dug it out of the refrigerator. I was walking, and I was slipping and sliding, and I couldn't walk on the ice with this pizza. So I threw it in a trash can down in the corner. And I got here, and I'm like, God, I want that pizza. We sent an intern back to the trash can. They brought the trash can pizza into us, and we ate it.
It was in the
dear
box.
I'm sure it's fine.
No.
Okay, back to this iced coffee problem. What's the deal with iced coffee? What's up with iced coffee?
Well, actually, iced coffee is we spend $250 million a year in America on iced coffee, so it's really grown. And part of the opportunity, is if you make the iced coffee the right way, if you cold brew it, it doesn't have the bitter overtones to it, so you don't have to put sugar in it, you don't have to put cream. You're not covering up the actual taste of what you're trying to imbibe. And that's one of the reasons iced coffee is working, because it's 80 calories, maybe 100 max.
Yeah, I drink it black every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you had nitro coffee?
What is that?
Oh, that's really cool. So nitro coffees, they infuse nitrogen gas into the coffee and it makes it creamy. Now remember, this is a whole new idea. Instead of adding chemicals or sugar or cream to your coffee, just mechanically mix it differently, which you can do with the gas. It tastes like you have cream in there, but there's no cream. Oh. So it's very low calorie.
Dr. Oz, you got it going on.
This is what my daughter was, Daphne, was involved with Halo Top ice cream. I don't know if you ever
I
had
love
it.
Halo Top ice cream.
Well, when she started working, getting the company up and running, what they realized was they didn't have to make the ice cream taste good by adding stuff to it. You could actually mechanically mix it up.
Oh.
So it's a whole new way of thinking about food. Mechanically make it taste better.
Right.
Forget about adding chemicals to make it taste better, and you can have less calories and have the same taste effect.
You're actually adding air to it,
Yeah.
and it makes it taste different. I love that.
Quickly
How's
mixing
Daphne doing? I know she's got the next baby on the way.
Yeah, I just talked to her. Daphne was taking the red eye back from the West Coast. She's probably landed by now, but she's having a baby in 2 months.
Wow.
So I FaceTime with all the little ones, her little ones. They're little pieces of candy.
Aw.
You're so cute.
Okay, let's get down and get dirty. You have some great stuff coming on, Dr. Oz, this week. Where do you want to start?
Well, so first of all, I'll talk about Fat Joe, because we're doing this big program with a bunch of rappers about health. And just to be clear about this, I wish I could communicate with all the kids in school about health, but the real people who can really do that are the folks who are making music. Right. And so Fat Joe is, when Big Pun died, Fat Joe realized he needed to fix his life. So he did. He started eating differently, started doing the things you need to do in life to live the full life. And he's been telling that message. And so he's coming on with the Lox rappers and Lisa Evers. You know Lisa? She's Fox 5 our affiliate reporter. So we're all getting together and talking about what is it that's happening in the rap community that's making health sort of cool.
Well, Fat Joe, he was close to 500 pounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's lost more than half his body weight.
Yeah, he's not fat anymore. I saw him walking down the street the other day. I was like,
what do we call him now?
Joe.
Just Joe.
Yes, Joe.
Yeah.
Skinny
Regular Joe.
Used to be Fat Joe.
Right.
We call him that. The man once known as Fat
Right.
Joe.
Yes.
Formerly Fat Joe.
Formerly Fat. But it works. It works. And there was, by the way, there's a great article that came out this past week looking at what gets people to eat less food. And it was done by a government-sponsored study, by the way. So it's really well done. They put a bunch of people basically in a prison. They couldn't leave. They had to eat exactly what you gave them. And half the people were given whole food, and half the people were given food that was good for you but processed.
Like
Protein powders, fiber sticks.
Right.
Right. So again, you're eating the macronutrients are the same. Same percentage of protein, fat, carbohydrate, same amount of fiber. Everything's the same, but one group got it coming out of the ground looking that way, and the other group was produced to have that.
What'd you find?
The people who had the whole food ate 500 calories less per day.
Oh.
That's a
Wow.
pound a week, and they could do it for as long as the study lasted. Then they flipped them and they moved them to the other group, and they had the exact opposite finding. Here's what we're learning. The body is hardwired to realize what real food is. And when we eat whole food, it naturally turns off your hunger hormones. The ghrelin, the growling hormone that makes your stomach chow.
Yeah.
Right? That hormone's turned down, so you don't eat as much food. That's why people who are skinny, we think. They're eating food that, in a way that, because it comes naturally, turns off these hormones. And it's a big wake-up call to a lot of physicians now. Instead of just saying, eat paleo, eat keto, you can do those if you want. But if you do those by eating synthetic foods, it's going to be hard for you to keep going because your hormones aren't turned the right way.
Wow. There
I
you
have
go.
a question.
The floor recognizes
Thank
Daniel.
you.
Danielle.
So this new thing where everybody is like not eating for a certain amount of hours, like you eat for 8 hours during the day, and then you put your body into ketosis or whatever the heck it's called. Is that good for you?
It is. I actually do that.
You do.
Yeah, it's called intermittent fasting.
What are you
Okay.
doing?
Well, it's great. So it's based on the important principle, which is circadian rhythm. So circadian rhythm is your biologic clock. And if you may not realize it, but the reason you go to the bathroom at the same time every day, the reason you get hungry at the same time is because your biologic clock is telling you to do those things. So you're hacking the clock. The body is designed to eat when the sun is up. Our ancestors could not eat when it was dark because they couldn't catch their food. So when the sun comes up, you start eating food. You eat. When the sun goes down, supposed to stop eating. Most Americans eat for about 18 hours a day.
Oh wow.
So we're eating when we
Yes.
first get up, and just before we go to bed, we have a little something. So our intestines don't like that, and so it keeps us up at night. But more importantly, if you eat the exact same number of calories in 8 or 10 hours as opposed to 16 or 18 hours, you'll lose weight. So it's not just about how many calories you eat; it's how long it takes to eat them. And you also will find that the rest of your life feels better as well. So I learned this actually from some really effective guys, bodybuilders, folks who are actors. Hugh Jackman actually was the one who first showed it to me because he was gaining weight and losing weight to be able to be Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
And so he would need to bulk up, then lose the weight to go back and do other things he wanted to do. And this was the program that he'd learned from these bodybuilders and weightlifters. So I started doing it myself. And
So what do you do? So what is it you do?
All right, so when I first get up in the morning, I don't eat anything because you don't actually need to eat anything when you
Yeah.
first wake up. You're not really hungry.
You
That's
can have
just-
black coffee though, can't
You
you?
can have black coffee,
Right.
no calories,
Right.
no nutrients,
Okay.
nothing. And then a couple hours after you wake up, let's say around 9, you get hungry, right? Because you've been up since 6. The average person gets up around 6. So at 9 o'clock, then you have your first meal. And then you have 10 hours to finish eating. So you got to finish dinner by 7. That's not that hard to do.
No.
It means you eat dinner a little earlier, which we know is good for us. You eat breakfast later. Breakfast itself, the idea of having a morning breakfast before you leave,
Right.
that was a marketing ploy. That was all
I
created
could
by...
have sworn Dr. Oz told me you need to eat breakfast. It's the most
You
important
do.
meal of the day.
You do, but your breakfast doesn't have to be when you first wake up.
Right. Can
All
be
right.
Your
So-
breakfast should be your biggest
Unless you
meal,
get
and you
up
can have it
free.
at 9 in the morning. So
Okay.
flip your meals. Have your dinner for breakfast, and have a light dinner at around 5, 6, 7.
I'm going to have a little breakfast meatloaf.
We have
Exactly.
dinner for breakfast around here all the time.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, well, that's whole. Then you have dinner for dinner too.
Yes, we do.
No, you have dinner for every meal.
There is
You're
that.
right.
So you're saying we should only eat during daylight hours.
Daylight hours, and of course, in the summertime, you got a lot of time to eat for that reason.
Right.
But when the sun goes down, unlike the alcohol binging that I've been hearing about here, you need to cut that down. Now it
Yeah,
does.
okay.
Stop
Stop
Doesn't
preaching.
help.
I'm
Stop preaching.
I'm not going to. I'm not
My
gonna
mic
drink
went
today.
dead. My wife. Hello.
I'm sorry. Dr. Oz, thank you. Bye. Hey, okay, I'm going to ask you a question as I ask for a Kleenex, please.
Yes.
My nose has been running for 3 weeks now, and I know it's an allergy thing. I know it's stuff in the air. I mean, it affects different people in different ways. I actually sometimes feel like I get flu-like symptoms from the stuff in the air. So a lot of us are fighting our allergies in different ways right now. What is the best way what's the best way to fix this thing?
So tree pollen is really bad right now. I just happened to look at this map because I had the same problem.
Right.
And I was just dying, and I couldn't understand it. And then I looked on the U.S. Weather Service, and they have little maps, and it's just shocking. Like right over where we are, there's this big red block because the tree pollen is all stuck here. So a couple of things I did. First off, I realized that a lot of my problem was that the pollen gets into my nose,
Right.
and then it starts to create this inflammatory reaction. You do feel like you have the flu,
Yep.
because your body's literally fighting a battle, except it's fighting with pollen. So I started using the neti pot more. I don't know if you're neti potting.
pot.
Yes, the neti pot. Remember, it's like the water boarding your nose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the water goes into your head, then out your head, out your other hole.
Right. It's like Aladdin's lamp, right? You're pouring Aladdin's lamp in one nostril, comes out the. They do it in India.
Oh,
I
yeah.
learned it from Indian ENT doctors.
My parents always say it's actually neti pot, just so you know.
Okay.
Neti pot. Neti pot.
Yep.
But the cultural appropriation if I say it that way. But
No, it's fine.
Okay, neti pot. But it's very inexpensive. Use clean water, please, filtered water.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't want bacteria in your head. And then that helped me a lot. The other thing is I wash my hair before I go to bed, because the pollen gets into your hair, and then you put your head on the pillow, and you're basically breathing in all that pollen from your hair falling into your pillow.
I didn't.
Is
think
that
of
why your eyes are swollen in the morning?
Yes.
I am.
Yes.
Hello, lady.
So women, especially with long hair, with the hairspray it's like it's a magnet for everything
Yeah.
that's foreign. All that pollen sticks to your hair. It messes with you. There you have it. There we have it. Evidence.
know it.
I learned so
Okay,
much today.
Let's go over to producer Sam, who we think she got sick because she was playing with dirty pigeons.
Oh my goodness.
Can you turn her on? Yeah, you shouldn't be playing with pigeons.
They were so cute, though.
But
They
they're,
were.
They're full of disease.
There were thousands of pigeons where we were.
I used to let Daphne, when she was a little baby, run after the pigeons because it was such a cute thing. She thought she was going to get them, never even got close. And then I was studying in medical school. I took care of a little girl who had been playing with pigeons and got something called cryptococcal meningitis, which is a bad infection that you get from pigeons. They have it in their poop. And she'd gotten it into her brain, and it gets to go in your mouth and through your mouth into your brain. And she was really sick for a long time, that little girl. So I wouldn't let the kids play with pigeons anymore.
Don't play with the pigeons.
Yeah, I would. I think you can look at them
Yeah.
from afar.
They pooped on her.
Yeah, that's
I
the
swear
problem.
we were vibing, though. They were looking at me. We were talking. I had a connection with the pigeons.
They were just landing on
Filthy.
her.
Oh, okay, a text message, Dr. Oz. Is CBD safe?
CBD, I'll tell you, one of the biggest opportunities we have, but I'm almost ashamed at what's happening to it right now. We did a big investigation. So this, my show, we try to organize these big investigations about the questions that I don't think are being answered. And one of the ones I had was, if CBD works, do we know if we're actually getting it in the pills that we're taking? Because it's not regulated. We can't tell. So we got 13 products, and we measured them. We sent them to a lab, and with East Coast, West Coast, all over the place. Of the 13 products, 10 of them did not have what they said was in them.
Oh.
And 5 of them had nothing. I mean, zero CBD in them. Now, CBD is expensive. It takes money to harvest it and purify it and et cetera. 3 companies made real stuff. If you took their products, you might get a health benefit. 10 of them, you can't get a health benefit because there's no CBD in there. So here's the problem. If it works, and we haven't even proven how much and how it works yet, but if it works, we got to actually take the product to benefit it. But people all over America now are listening to your show. There are tens of millions of people listening to Elvis Duran show are taking CBD and thinking it didn't work for me. It's a fake. It's not really impactful.
Wow.
In fact, it's not the fact that CBD doesn't work. It's the fact that you bought a product that was ripping you off,
Wow.
stealing your money, and didn't have any product in there.
So how do you know to find the right one?
You don't know.
Oh, well, that's great.
It's shameful. No, this is one of the reasons where I think sometimes you do need regulation. I don't like the idea of regulating all supplements. I don't think it's a good thing to do. But when you have something as sophisticated as CBD, you need someone to stamp on there. This is real CBD.
Right.
Or prove that. So if you're going to try to find something, at least see if they've had it validated. Did they get a third-party company to check what's in there? Or if it's a bigger company, more likely they're not going to cheat you because they're going to go out of business by doing that. The ones that cheat you are usually the small fly-by-night guys. They steal your money. They're in business for 3 months. They take the money and run away. And that's like with fake. I don't know if you see. I had an op-ed piece in the Wall Street Journal on fake advertisement,
Right.
which is sort of related to this basic issue. When you see, for example, my picture on a product saying, "Hey, buy Dr. Oz's CBD," I don't sell CBD.
You don't sell anything.
I don't sell anything.
So
But
we should never buy anything with your picture on it.
if it says Dr. Oz is selling this, this supplement, don't buy it, please.
Okay.
But however, the bigger story wasn't just about me. It was across the board. Celebrities carry some weight with consumers because they see us every day, right? So I mean, you're home every single day. Most people don't even think. They see me. They think, did we go to school together? They can't quite place you. So they believe you when they have a word of mouth testimonial. The fact that we have not been able to clean this up after all these years, and quite the opposite. Companies make money off selling fake stuff. The big digital companies actually run these fake ads. You can't find out. They will not tell you who's paying for the ads. It's secret. I mean, who does that? I said, listen, forget about you doing it. I'll clean up.
Yeah.
But just tell me who's running the ads. They won't tell you. So we've got a system that's broken, and I think this is part of the big backlash that folks are witnessing around the country on big digital companies. They can do better. We expect them to do better. We're proud of what they've accomplished. They need to show up in our lives.
Okay, I'm going to switch channels again because I want to get everything I can get out of you,
Please,
Dr. Oz.
Suck it out.
Yes.
I mean, not that way.
So-
I mean, the other way.
Okay, call me
Metaphorically.
Call me crazy, but I love nothing more than sniffing pool toys.
Oh, me too. Oh, I love
No,
the smell.
I love that
And gasoline.
that plastic smell when you take it out of the wrapper. No, you know what I'm
So
talking about?
awesome.
Yes.
There's nothing like a good old pool toy smell.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that stuff I'm smelling is the most toxic stuff known to. It's killing us.
Well,
The smell is killing us.
I didn't say it's the most toxic stuff known, but here's the question. So that toxic smell comes from chemicals like PVCs, polyvinyl chlorides, these chemicals that are designed to make plastic flexible, like pool toys, for example.
Right.
And the question is it a problem? And a lot of people appropriately have said, well, they're endocrine disruptors, right? They block the ability of the hormones that govern your normal day-to-day behavior to work. So
My pool toys smell?
the smell of the pool toys. So then what do you do about it? Well, because you're not going to get rid of the pool toys. I mean, it's summertime, right? You want the pool toys, you want to jump around and have a good time. But you don't have to imbibe it and smell it. So it does off gas. So take it out of the plastic wrapper, let it get the gas out a little bit, blow it up before your kids jump on it. Let it spend a couple hours outside in the air like you're dry cleaning, right? Get those gases out of the house. And then you don't want to be living in them, right? Don't have the kids sleep on their pool toys. Play with it in the pool.
Who's having their kids do
It's
that?
my favorite smell, though. I've also heard it's the same thing, maybe. New car smell apparently can kill you.
What?
Oh, gosh.
It's the same stuff, right? New
All my
cars.
favorite stuff's going to kill me.
Yeah, I know.
I think look, the new car smell passes after a couple weeks on purpose. I always take my new car. I take the windows down, leave it out, let the air clear out. The stuff goes away. But a lot of us do like the smell, and then we don't realize it could be potentially problematic, and we don't actually know how much. It's like the same battle we're having with sunblock right now. Y'all reading about these reports where is sunblock bad for you or good for you? Listen, sunblock is actually good for you because you won't get skin cancer. That's a guaranteed benefit.
Okay.
There's a theoretical problem because the sunblock gets absorbed through your skin much more than we ever thought it did. And that's the bigger question. So what do you do about it? Either use the mechanical sunblocks, the zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, the ones that don't get absorbed by the skin. They block it, or recognize it might be a problem and pay attention to it because everyone's rushing to find out if it's really an issue or not, and they're going to make better versions. But in the meantime, don't stop using sunblock because you'll all be coming back with squamous cell carcinomas of the skin, which is not so much fun.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk to Dr. Oz about?
Oh, I have a question. What about the health benefits of magic mushrooms? Because in Denver, it just got okayed a little bit.
This is one of the most exciting things in medicine. I'll tell you a quick story. Bill Wilson. Anyone know who he is? Bill Wilson founded AA, Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yes. Yeah, I need to know him better.
So the question is, how did he stop drinking? Because there was no AA before he started it. 1934, he has an out-of-body, like existential experience, a hallucinogenic experience, probably mediated by some hallucinogen. Because of that experience, he stopped drinking. And he spent a lot of his life trying to get LSD into AA programs. And back then, it wasn't a bad thing because people thought that if you could hack a experience that showed you what life was really about, that it was okay. And in the 60s with Timothy Leary and the LSD and dropping out and dropping acid and all that stuff, it started becoming a problem and became a moral battle. And right now in America, we can't study it that well. But we are beginning to now find that things like ketamine, which is special K, magic mushroom, psilocybin, LSD, all these drugs are actually helping people with PTSD, with bad depression, with alcoholism, cigarette addictions. I mean, listen, with cigarettes, 80% of the time people stop smoking when they do these. These are not, by the way, you're not raving with these things at concerts. This is done with the doctor supervising it. We're very thoughtful.
Right.
But this is shocking. 80% of the time people are getting off cigarettes and they're not smoking 2/3 of the time, even a year later. Whoever thought you'd get that kind of result? And it's one time. You're not doing LSD all the time. And so it makes you really excited about the fact that you might be able to hack what years of meditation might be required to achieve, which is, by the way, a better way to go if you can. But if you're not going to do the meditation, if you can't get there for whatever reason, if there's a way of getting around your PTSD with ketamine, which is now, the U.S. government's going to approve some of these things, it's shockingly exciting. What a good way to deal with depression.
But I loved how excited Gandhi got when they started saying magic mushrooms are legal.
I think it's a great thing. lots of stuff is going to get cured from this.
All right, there you go.
Sure, that's why you're thinking.
Well, you know,
about it.
think about this. Humans, for all of our history, have been using some of these psychedelic products in different settings, right? You go through the Amazon basin. You look. The oldest society ever is a place called Potbelly Hill in Turkey. And this place, 12,000 years old, 3 times older than the pyramids. They have these beautiful tea temples. Who the heck knows why they built them? But they were probably doing hallucinogens in this environment.
Right.
Either the shaman was doing it and bringing back the message of what life was all about to the community, or people were doing it themselves. So, and we know we could trace human history. Marijuana was present, one of the oldest medicines known. All these, magic mushroom, all these things were being used widely, not recreationally. They were used for spiritual services. And part of it was the reason we get depressed is we build these little fences to protect us. And we don't realize these fences are actually walls that are prison walls. That we are closing ourselves in these small little environments that we can't get out of. And then when the world doesn't react the way we think it's going to work, we get depressed because we can't cope anymore because we're locked up. We got chains all around us. So what these products seem to do is for just a second give you a glimpse of what life would be like if you didn't have this wall built around you, this cage that you locked yourself into. And that opens your minds up to be much more flexible with life. That's why you get past depression. Because primarily depression is about the fact that you can't change the world because you've locked yourself up so much in knots. And if you can get there through meditation, through prayer, which is how we're supposed to do it, please do that. But if someone's got to go out there first and start telling you about how to do it, then maybe you need a hallucinogen to show you that path.
Let's get high with. I want to get high with Dr. Oz.
I'm in.
That's why stories are so important. All our great religious treatises, they're all about stories. That's why Game of Thrones was so effective.
Oh, can we talk about that when we come back? I got to take a break.
Oh, why?
Because
commercials?
Because I'm getting yelled at.
Oh, please.
No, I should have taken a break like 10 minutes ago. Because I'll tell you, I could sit here and just get lost listening to you. Because you're the most fascinating person
God
ever.
bless you.
And you're a good lover, too.
Oh.
All right, more with Dr. Oz coming up right after this. I think it's amazing. Dr. Oz and his show has been on for 10 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
You're going into season 11 later this year, right?
You know, I still remember the first day that Oprah ever approached me about the show.
Yeah, what was that like, Dr. Oz? Oprah?
Well, so I'd made her show, I don't know, 60 times, and we were still making it. I would fly to Chicago, which that's where she taped, and you'd make a show in the morning and a show in the afternoon. That's how I do it too. Most of us do it that way. Phil does it that way. Most of the talk shows. So in between the shows, we'd never talk because you didn't want to leave all the good energy in the dressing room. So this day she calls me to the room and says, I want to talk to you. And I said, well, must be a problem. So she goes and she says, I want to start, making a show with you. I said, well, we are making a show together. That's how naive I was about the whole process.
Right.
She said, no, I want you to be the person hosting the show. And I'd never actually seriously considered, because I'm a heart surgeon. I still operate. I operated this last week. Right. I never wanted to think about anything beyond that. And she was really good. My wife and Oprah really conspired to elevate me because it wasn't on my vision board. And I thought, okay, well, I guess I'll do it for a year or two. And again, the thought of it being a continuous process also never dawned on me. Because most shows don't make it anyway, but I never thought about it for myself. Period. I'd do it for a year or two, get all the things I wanted to say about health out of my soul, my system, and then I'd be done, move on. And it's been so fulfilling, so rewarding. And so I met so many wonderful friends, like you, through the process, that it's become, I'm addicted to it. I love it.
How did you meet Oprah in the first place, like to start doing her show?
I want to pay great tribute to the woman who introduced us. Back then, she wasn't as well known as she is now, Gayle King.
Oh, wow.
What happened was Gayle and I had met and, done some fun stuff together. And I was hosting a show for the Discovery Channel, a documentary on the human body. And I needed some big name guest to come on just to sort of launch the show. And I approached Gayle. And for reasons that we still all laugh about, Oprah agreed to come on. I mean, I was a complete unknown. And she was in New York doing a magazine shoot for her magazine. And Gayle said, listen, if you get her in makeup, get her then, because you're not going to get her in makeup twice. And I went, and we met up, and we had a fantastic time. And People Magazine wrote an article about the episode, and her team learned about it from that. And they invited me out to come do her show. And I remember going to the autopsy lab at New York Presbyterian Columbia, where I practice, filling a bunch of organs into an igloo cooler because I want to talk about organs. And I went to the airport and I had a little note saying that I wasn't Jeffrey Dahmer because
you're walking around with organs
and skulls and femurs. And I got there, and I changed out of my suit because I didn't want to get it dirty and put on these cheap $14 cotton scrubs from our OR. And I did the show. And that's why I was always in scrubs. Because it wasn't done on purpose. It was done out of naivete. I didn't want to get my clothes dirty.
Oh, wow.
I love this story.
Yeah.
You always wonder, well, wait, Dr. Oz, was he just born doing TV?
Right.
When did this start?
But the real angel is Gail King, who, God bless her, I'm so happy for her. She's doing so well now. But back then, she was just, finding her way, raising her kids, and a confidant. And just, but there's those people in the world who just always do the right thing. And so you trust them.
Yeah.
Because they always show up for you. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here.
I trust you with my life, Dr. Oz. As a matter of fact, we're talking about the book that comes out October 1st. I think you have an entire chapter about you and our interaction with each other.
Okay, so let's talk about the book for 1 second. Because, where do I begin? And I didn't know it was coming out. I saw it here, and I thought, how did I miss the book? And I realized, I'm asking you right here on the show, will you come on my program and talk about the incredible epiphanies you've had as Elvis Duran about your body, about your health?
If you have me, absolutely.
No, done. It's booked. It's
Done.
Done.
Booked.
Thank you. You heard it here first.
I'm going on Dr. Oz show.
Are we able to come watch that recording?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But I'll tell you, the thing about books that I really love is that you tell the truth, because you can't lie to yourself in your study while you're writing something down in black and white. We can make stories up all the time when we're with other folks. When we're by ourselves, we tell our truth. That's why I love books. I love stories in general.
Right.
But your own stories, and that's the big challenge. To everyone listening right now, that's the big question. What is your story? And if you don't know what it is, first of all, make sure you're not in someone else's story. Because if you're in someone else's story, you're going to be a bit player. Because you're not going to be the hero or the protagonist in someone else's story.
Yeah.
And if you don't know your own story, it could be a horror story. So change it.
This is why I loved writing this book. I got to know me a lot better. It's kind of hard to explain unless you do it, and you've done it. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's cathartic.
I want to talk about, we were on the airplane coming home from Puerto Rico. Some gentleman in the back of the plane passed out, or there was a problem. And so it was one of those, I'm sorry, is there a doctor on board moment, right? So luckily, two beautiful, beautiful doctors ran to the back, and they both worked on this guy and helped him out. Yep. But in talking, finding out more, I'm hearing that sometimes if a doctor is asked to show up, they don't want to tell them when they're a doctor. They don't show up. They just, because they don't want to get sued. They don't want to be. No, that's. I know you would always. It's just wrong. I've never known a doctor who wouldn't show up. Right. First of all, there's Good Samaritan laws that do protect you. So if you try to help someone, it doesn't work out. It's not, you're not blamed for it because you stuck up when no one else would. But I tell you, it's reprehensible if you would not get involved. I don't understand why that would happen, because people dedicate so much time to teaching us medicine. Mm-hmm. You owe it to your teachers. I mean, the number of people I tortured with questions about all kinds of stuff. The kinds of questions you asked me, I asked someone else to find them out. I didn't know them. I wasn't born knowing this stuff. So you owe it to your teachers. But listen, what makes a professional? A professional has four things. And this is true not just for doctors or lawyers, for everybody out there who thinks they're a pro. First off, you have an oath to the people that you're caring for, that you always take care of them. You are a professional because your primary oath is to the people listening right now. If you lie to them, you're violating your professional oath. Number two, you got to stand on the shoulders of giants, the people who taught you about how to do what you do well. And in medicine, that's really important. Number three, we don't do it too well, but it's important, is you police each other. When someone's doing a bad job, you call them out on it. You make sure that people realize that that's not the right way to do it. And the fourth thing, this is a part we don't do, and we have to do more of it in America, we all have a responsibility to speak up on civic issues. That's why I know you may not want to hear about my politics or my feeling on criminal justice or this and that. I'm not going to browbeat folks on it, but I have an obligation to tell people what I think we should do, for example, in healthcare, where I have some expertise. Because if I don't say it, who's going to say it? And when we don't tell the truth, our truth to people, it causes issues. What's our goal in life? Let's elevate this. Our goal in life is to take the chaos around us and to use our truth to hone it into something that gives light to the world. That's what we're supposed to do. When you don't do that, then who else is going to do it? Evil is not when bad people do bad things. Evil is when good people don't stand up and say, hey, you're bad. We got to fix this. We got to make it better. And that's why story is so important for us. Do you see what I'm doing?
Yes, you're crying.
You make me cry.
Aww.
I thought it was onions.
I just love you. I just love you so much. And I totally understand why other people love you too. Anyway, let's tell a dirty joke.
No, let's go Game of Thrones. All right.
Talk about Game of Thrones. It's over now. A lot of people have seen it, and they're empty in life. They have nowhere to go.
I'm one of them.
You have nowhere to go.
I'm very upset. I feel like a friend was taken away from me.
Well, the nice thing about Game of Thrones, and I'm not going to spoil the show because many people haven't seen the last episode, but I've always loved stories in general and how stories play a role in our lives. And I know a lot of people are frustrated because it didn't quite work out exactly how they thought it was going to work out. And but if you really think about the stories that define our lives, they're supposed to have the difficult decisions not always work out perfectly because that's what life's like. It's the struggle. And that's why this is so cool that as a people, we got behind. I was watching the show last night with all my kids. My kids came home to watch it with me.
Oh, how great was that?
That's
When I was a kid, the country would come together around episodes like this. That we used to all be on the same page on something. Whether it's a sporting event, which still does it, or these kinds of important stories. I remember watching Roots when I was a little boy. Right, Roots. Everyone got together just to watch it because we could talk about it the next day, and that's what the traditions that brought us together have always been about. And the most powerful tools we have in our lives are those stories. The Bible is a story for a reason because it changes us profoundly, and that's what I think they did so beautifully with Game of Thrones because they tugged on all the elements of what a hero really is, and it gives you lessons that you can begin to apply to your own life. Where are you like Daenerys? Khaleesi, which is the name of my dog, by the way. Still. But where are you like Jon Snow? Where are you like the Lannisters? I had a great Instagram series I was posting about medical insights about Game of Thrones, just to play with it. Like what kind of a diet did the Lannisters eat? Was it keto, paleo?
Right.
Great question.
I mean, exactly what did the Mad King have? What was his diagnosis? But that's sort of fun because people can identify with it. I can teach people about Mediterranean diets better through Game of Thrones than through talking about it on the show.
You had another point you wanted to make about Game of Thrones before we took a break. What was that? We were going down a road. You said, "Oh, Game of Thrones." I said, "Oh, we'll be right back." Are you like this? Do you live your life like this? Because I do.
Of course.
I forget things. I'm just an idiot sometimes.
It's good for your
You're
memory.
supposed to peripatetic. It's good for your memory.
All right. Well, maybe there was.
No, I think the big issue around Game of Thrones is that I think as a people. I harken back to when we were in little villages. We'd gather on the campfire,
right,
and someone would tell us a story that had deep meaning to us. And we need to remember how important that is. And when people break down our stories, stories of American exceptionalism, stories about what made us Americans, because it's not about where we were born. It's about a belief system. That's what defines what Americans are. And I think that stories like Game of Thrones reminds us of that.
Wow. Mm. There you go.
You're my favorite person.
I guess I should start watching that Game of Thrones.
You should.
How many seasons? 8?
8.
It doesn't have to be Game of Thrones. It can be any story. The stories that elevate us, they're not always happy stories, but the ones that elevate us are important to us. Forget them at your peril.
Another thing I love about Dr. Oz is, just because he's one of the best surgeons in the world, and just because he has a wildly successful TV show, what I love most about you and what you try to teach us is it's not always about something you can get from a needle or a pill or an operation. It's about what you can do with your heart and how you can actually lift people up by the things you say. And your belief system is your foundation. It's your core. It's what drives everything you do and every decision you make. And in the end, what we do for other people is really what it's all about. That is what you teach us every time you come in here. And then you look at people's boo-boos on their elbows. And
of course. And prostate exams. You say that. I mean, this is what makes you special. You hone into the thing that really matters the most. 50% of visits to doctors' offices are for non-medical issues.
Talk about that.
The epidemic in America is loneliness. That's what we're suffering from. People don't feel connected to each other, and we are hardwired to feel like raindrops falling into the ocean of humanity. And when I talk about it, I get emotional because I realize how sad people are, not realizing how important they are, how much they really matter to each and every one of us. I remember this lady. I operated on her about 2 years ago. She came in, she said, I need my heart operation. I said, well, okay, we'll do it on next Thursday, but you're here by yourself, so I got to call someone to talk to them about the operation. I mean, who am I going to celebrate with? Jokingly, I say this. And the lady says, I don't really have anybody. I say, ma'am, you're 60 years old. Are you telling me in 60 years on this planet, there's no one who really cares about you? And she's, dropped her eyes down. When people look down, that's real sad in a doctor's office because they should be trying to absorb info. And she said, there's no one that cares about me. I'm always by myself. And I said, I'm not going to operate on you if you really believe that, because I don't believe it. There's just no way that's the case. There's a cousin somewhere, a neighbor, someone who cares about you. And I said, if you go find me somebody, and when you do, I'll operate that day.
Wow.
That makes me very sad.
And she found somebody.
Good.
She found a neighbor.
Oh, wow.
And when she brought the neighbor in, it changed her complexion, but it also gave her hope. What's the point? You know what I don't operate on people? Sometimes people come in my office and say, everybody that I love is gone. I'm 90 years old. I've done it all. There's nothing left. And I say, okay, I get that. I mean, I hope I feel like that one day when I've done everything I need to do and it's time for the next stage. But if you don't feel that way about the end of your life, but rather feel like you're alone because you didn't live up to your life, that's something that we have an obligation to change. And doctors abdicate a big responsibility when we don't challenge that assumption. That's why on the show, I talk about, investigations about sausages and, exactly what kind of sunblock you should be putting on. But the reason we talk about true crime all the time is because it reminds us of these issues. It reminds us of the emotional struggles we're all facing every single day, defining good from bad and evil from hope. Yeah. And then when you're at the end of all that, that's what elevates all of us. That's what makes you feel connected. Because there's nothing healthier than laughing with your friends. Nothing.
Can we get back to the sausage episode?
Yes. Well, I was in Hoboken riding my bike with my wife yesterday. You guys all saw the post.
Is there really a sausage episode?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
No, it's not an episode. It happened yesterday. And I found alligator sausage.
Oh, yeah.
Have you had that?
I have had alligator sausage, absolutely.
Gosh, it was so good. I got addicted.
Oh,
you liked it?
gosh.
Yes, it was good. It was like a squid married a pig and had a chicken.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good, but it actually was good.
It is a special chew. Where do you put alligator sausage, in the crock pot? Anyone?
Hey-oh.
Boom.
On that note, okay, so we are first and foremost saying thank you, Dr. Oz. Congratulations on rolling into season 11. That is just incredible, and you can just tell this man loves what he does.
It's a passion. Yes, but I can't wait to launch season 11 because I get to have Elvis Duran on talking about his new book, which is going to be really cool.
Damn straight.
And we're all coming in. We're going to sit in the audience.
And
Because my mom just
heckle.
texted me that she has to come too.
You have 10 Daytime Emmy Awards?
Yes.
Oh, sorry about that. The thing about going to the Dr. Oz show is that the people who work the Dr. Oz show, people who work in the background and you don't see them, they're just the most amazing team.
Amazing.
And and Cheryl, you know how much we love our Cheryl.
Well, Cheryl Crowley, the angel.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you for coming in, Dr. Oz.
I love you, man.
You're the best. So all things Oz, droz.com. Everything you need to know about upcoming shows and things you've missed, it's all right there. It's the best website online other than elvisduran.com. Thank you, Dr. Oz.
The Mercedes-AMG Interview Lounge.